zest.
And so much to talk about. It's not this rugby union show. It's That Rugby Union Show, and welcome back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to That Rugby Union Show, and we're looking forward to more international rugby. There's going to be a little bit of, I suppose, a hiatus for the Springboks, but we certainly have been entertained, and a lot of speculation, I think, ended by Rassie Erasmus as he trimmed his squad down for the rugby champs. And yeah, I can't wait for tonight's guests as well. But before we do, because tonight, I wanted to actually start by saying tonight, ubukele ityala lamawele. But I'm not gonna. I'll save it for a little bit later. But Sim, before we go to the twins, very initial thoughts on the trim down. Any surprises? Yeah, I don't think there were too many surprises, to be honest.
Look, for me personally, probably Salman Murat. I mean, if you're gonna be made captain of one of the tests and then not make the cut altogether, that's some come down. But like, I think actually probably the rest of the guys, the other two guys, I'm probably a little taken aback by Magazole Mapimpi and Faf. I know Pimps is turning 35 on Saturday. But you know what? When I saw him at the Met, the guy was okay, eh? And then Papa, actually, funny enough, I thought in that 15 minutes that he was on before he had to go off with an HIA, had actually had a nice game. But maybe this is a cutting point where they start looking to the future, you know? Because also, I mean, I suppose with it, in Magazole's case, you sitting and looking at the question is, okay, who's backing up Kurtley Arendse and Cheslin Kolbe? Do you go Magazole or do you go Edwin van der Merwe, who's got 5 tries in 3 matches or whatever it is? So is that a sensational start to his international career?
Well, Sim, I'm glad you're talking about wings because I've got you 2 for the price of 1 tonight. It's an absolute privilege to have the Ndungane brothers join us. And I'm also very happy because, abantu basemthatha, bangabile, sonke sichiphile. Omnye useThekwini, the other one useGoli, as to be expected. But what a story it is. And you guys gave us, I think, so many years and spread out across on the international field as well, of entertainment and great tries, great finishes. Who was the first one to pick up a rugby ball and take it seriously? Because I'm sure that one drove the other.
Well, I don't think there was one person that's picked up the ball first. I think we both, we watched our dad as kids, play the sport, and I think that's how we were introduced to the game, and then from there it was just both of us just took a liking to the game, and we just started playing and never looked back. So I think it was just a huge blessing for both of us to be able to play the game at such a high level for so many years.
Yeah, and Odi, Hudson Park, I mean, anyone who's from Emonti will know that there was a time that you wouldn't take Hudson Park lightly. I don't know if you're going to smash me for saying that. But obviously very crucial to just your love for the game and developing.
Yeah, no, it was, because that's where it all started, I guess, because when we were still in Mthatha, we used to mostly just play soccer. We were just spectators at my dad's Sunday league games. And you would just pick up a plastic ball or an old rugby ball and throw around and have some fun, like any 10, 8, 7, 12-year-old would be doing. Having watched your dad, you try and imitate and play the game over again. So Hudson Park was where we actually got to learn the game, learn the rules, because we didn't know the rules. We were just watching. And it was, you can just imagine what how different it was having grown up playing soccer, and now at 14 is the first time that you are actually involved in a proper rugby game, because both sports are quite different. Soccer is much more about space and you got a bit of time, whereas rugby, it's all more intimate, where everything is on top of each other. So it was quite a big eye opener. But like Akona said, I think when we picked it up, we just fell in love with it, and somehow it also came a bit easier. And it was where it all started. So yeah, Hudson Park definitely paved the way for us.
So where did your dad play? And some jump in after this. I'm just very curious. Where did your dad play? Say Independence Stadium, which fields?
Rotary.
Rotary. Okay.
Yes, Ekwezi.
Yeah,
So yeah, no. So Sundays were very were important for us, because every Sunday we would drive to St. Andrews, ikawe apho our corner,
yeah.
and then
That's the
after
Catholic
church,
church in town. Yeah?
Anglican.
The Anglican church. Okay.
Yes. And then after church, then the games would start. And I mean, the people would turn out for those games. And there were big rivalries. My dad played for a club called Wallabies. So yeah, no, those were the big days. And my dad played mostly everywhere in the backs. He played center, he played fullback. I think the only place he didn't play was fly half. I know he played scrum half at some stage, but he was more like a utility. And yeah, no, those were very special days.
Yeah, my dad played in those league games as well on a Sunday,
Yeah.
but he was a soldier, so they'd have to host mostly on the army base on the other side of the South African embassy. So yeah, it was a very big thing, and it speaks to the culture, Sim, of the Eastern Cape, and just how I think there's something that we're missing. Those leagues, the clubs, but I understand that the game has moved on.
Guys, sorry, I feel a bit left out. A, my dad didn't play for any of these teams, and then B, I'm from the sky, so I'm completely an outsider in this conversation. Because you guys know we are divided by the Kai River. As history will have it. But anyway, listen. One thing I'm very curious of. I know you two used to play center actually when you started out. First things first, when last did you guys actually play together in a team? And then the second part is just talk us through the move, obviously from center to playing exactly the same position, right wing.
Just think about the last game we played together. I think it would have been for Border under 21, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that's the last game we played together. And we all started at center. Don't forget to mention, I think it was the final as well, which we won against Poland. Yes.
Wow, what year was this?
Just throw it in there.
Yeah, Border. Must have been early 2000s, 2003, 4 win.
Yeah, it was early 2000.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was early 2000. And yeah, so we started off at centers, 12 and 13, high school. And I think you played 13 at 21 then, or you went to wing as well?
12. I was 12.
Yeah, so I moved to wing because obviously I had the gas. They saw that I'm wasted there. I'm wasted there in the mid. They needed some pace out wide, so I was moved to the wings, and yeah, and I enjoyed the space. I enjoyed finishing. Yeah, and I think also Odwa, when he came through to the side as well, he also had a good time. And I think playing wing is always you always sort of the guy that makes the headlines because you always score the tries and you always get the glory. But yeah, it was one of those, and I think we enjoyed playing wings. And Odwa also played a bit of fullback for later in his career as well. So I think that move also helped us to be able to. I think they call them the hybrid players late now in this day and age. So I think you have to be sort of be able to fill in one or two positions now in the park. So yeah.
And tell me, guys, what twin sort of sort of nonsense did you guys get up to where like you tried to obviously people confused you for each other anyway? So where did it? I'll tell you why I'm asking that question, because I remember, was it Odwa who first went to the Bulls and then went
That's
down
right.
to Sharks?
That's right.
And I remember the joke at the time was that the Bulls had gotten the wrong twin. That was your joke. That was definitely your joke.
I remember reading that statement on one newspaper, and I think it said written by Phil. It must have been you.
So,
and yeah.
So how did you guys? I mean, how did you guys try to sort of like obviously fool people when like in life or in sport, where you figured, you know what, they can't tell us apart anyway, we might as well use it to our benefit?
I think it's funny, and I speak for both of us. People always say we look identical, but when I look at him, I don't think we do look identical at all. I think I'm different, and I'm sure he feels the same. So there's many stories, and I think some of them are not for this platform, because I think my wife will be watching at some stage. And as we were growing up, girls would be confused as who's who, and a few times I remember when, even after I'd left Pretoria, and then you go back, you will be walking in a Hatfield Mall, you'll see someone and they'd come to you, and they'll be, especially people that know Akona, and then they'll start to speak. And then you get to a stage where you actually don't want to explain that, no, it's not me, because some people don't know that he's a twin, and then they will just get offended. Why is this guy not nice, and so forth. So it still happened today, funny enough, and people still do get confused. And Sim, you actually just opened up a wound by that statement that you said. I'd actually forgotten. It's been so long, and to think now that it happened. Yeah, I know, but being identical, there's some good things and there's some bad things. And one of the things that people ask, which I think I want to share, is, do we get to feel things the same, or do we experience things at the same time? So it's like sometimes I would be feeling okay and not sick at all, and then I would start to get a fever blister, but I won't have flu. And then when I then speak to Akona, it turns out that he has flu. So it's to that extent that things happen. But besides that, there's it happens like that.
Yeah, I feel like I need to come clean because it happened to me. We were in Pretoria, and I could have sworn it was outside the Springbok team hotel. You know that one, some in just off Sunnyside, when you have to go for the press conferences. And I swore I ran into Odwa. And I'm having a conversation in the parking lot, and at the end, Akona says, "No, Akona," and I actually thought it was Odwa busy trying to like mess with me. I refused to believe it at the time. So I can well imagine it's happened. But just also the thing that
look at what
fascinated.
level it was simple. At
Yeah,
support
no.
level, it was simple. These guys never played for the same coaches.
This is
Because Jake
exactly
White
what I
went with
wanted to go
AK
to first next.
Yes.
and Caleb de
EDB
Villiers
went with Odwa.
went with Odwa. It was
Yeah.
like there was a separation of church and state there.
Uh,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, come on, these are roughly the same player. And these
yeah,
guys was just like, no, I'm going with this guy. And the other one was like, I'm going with that guy. I was just like, I'm not sure what's going on. So that's how I separated anyway.
yeah.
I
I
don't
find it
think so,
very
Zip.
I find it very, very strange. But it also means, as a result, that one went to that World Cup in 2007 and one beat the British and Irish Lions in '09. I mean, those are massive highlights, especially given that there was that separation that Sim talks about. Let's start with '07, Akona, because, yeah, that was a special team.
Yeah, no, it was 07 is always going to be a special year for me. Started out in Durban, beating Odwa's team in extra time, and people complaining about ref, and this thing happened. But
I'm
yeah,
losing connection on my side. I can't hear what he's saying.
and so it started there for us, or for myself, and obviously going to France, playing for the Boks in the World Cup, and winning the Webb Ellis. And I think for me the most special thing about it was coming back to the country. Not looking down on the games we played, or just being there in France and experiencing the World Cup for the first time, but I think what it meant for the people of South Africa, just coming back and seeing what you've achieved as a team, what you've done for the country. And I think you get to realize how special of a gift you have and what you've done when you come back and you get to speak to the guys on the street and let them tell you how much they appreciate what you've done. And this is so inspiring for them, and young kids and guys just looking up to you. So I think for me that was the most special thing, and it's something that I will always look back and just have very, very good memories about it. And '07 was just something special.
Yeah,
And
no,
then he got given the what did you get? Key of the city, Mthatha.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget about these things. There's so many.
That's yeah. No, but it's so true what you say, because I remember that in '07, you guys won, and there was a press conference, and we went to the change rooms and we did interviews, and there was a lot of excitement. But the moment you left the stadium, you couldn't even tell there was a World Cup on until you got back home. And then when
Yes.
obviously British and Irish Lions. I mean, that's a highlight for any player. We're watching them play now, and it somehow feels like the intensity then was different to what we see now. I know that the skill levels are different. I know that the athletes that rugby has produced are different. But I think of that test match, especially the one at Loftus, and the physicality of the two sides. I saw somebody once titled it the most dangerous rugby match in history or something, but it was such a physical battle, that thing.
Yeah. No, it was. And Akona speaks about how the people in South Africa, I think because we all know how much of a rugby nation we are and how people love their sport. And when the Lions came into town, there was just something different. X, you speak about that test match at Loftus. I mean, that first game in Durban,
In Durban.
where you'd see those supporters, Lion supporters in red. I think they dominated the Springboks that stadium. So, and
That
them
big
singing,
jersey.
yes, yeah, and the vibe that the people that tour, that come to South Africa, they create at the stadium is just something that anyone who missed it that time, and as a rugby fan, have to in their lifetime see it and experience
a full Lions contingent of supporters coming and so forth. But, you speak about that Loftus Test match, because we had to win that game to clinch the series. And there's many things that happened there. I think Skalk got a yellow card earlier on. And because, just the intensity, the pressure of the game, we spoke about it, how important it was to make sure that we clinch the series, because you don't want to go on the third game playing for a win. You rather just want to finish off that on the second game. So there was a lot riding on the game, and we had to make sure we stand up. And the one way we know how to stand up is to front up physically, and we had the forward pack to do it, and obviously the kicking boot of Monet Steyn. Who can ever forget that? So that was quite special, and many people speak about it, and when you think about it, and you on your own, how many rugby players are there but never get the opportunity to play the Lions, then you realize how special it is. And 2009 was special. To play the Lions and beat them. It's one that will stay with me forever. And like now, obviously I was young at the time. I didn't have kids. You speak about the Lions in Australia, so we watch the Lions playing, and I say to my kids, when they toured South Africa, because now I'm having to tell them, they tour every 12 years. So they're busy calculating, okay, how many years will they come back here again? So it's quite special to have that. And then you show them pictures of you playing against the Lions team, and you explain to them the combination of all the countries together and what it means. So that is quite special, to have done it and obviously won it as well.
Some jump in, but that tour also had so much drama off the field. There was the Justice for Pakis. There was Skalk with the eye gouging, and then you had Divi going out, and the press conferences were not boring.
I remember the stuff about if you wanted to gouge lions, we would have gone to the Kruger. Rugby's Rugby's a collision sport, not a contact sport. Otherwise we would be wearing tutus and doing ballet. I remember all those trips. Odie, one question I need to ask: did you make the 2009 Tri-Nation squad?
That's right.
So we're very well decorated, both of you. I mean, you've got the serial Super Rugby winner on the one side and the World Cup winner. And then you've got the British and Irish Lions series winner and Tri-Nations winner. And then, of course, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Odwa's got more curry cups, eh?
I definitely think so. I'm not sure by how much. I don't know by how much, but sometimes you end up losing count. When it gets to 40, 50, you end up losing count. How many trophies do you have? How many trophies do you have?
I think he meant trophies, not caps. That's correct, right?
How many trophies? How many trophies do you have?
I've got 2.5.
Okay. So then I've got more than you, so that's fine.
and that 2009. The 2009 Tri-Nations, I still had dreadlocks, and you guys won that one in Hamilton. I think Rassie Erasmus scored 2 long-distance 60-meter penalties. You beat the All Blacks, and then afterwards we went out partying. We went into the little town of Hamilton, and I still signed an autograph that night as Odwa Ndungane. There's some Kiwi sitting at home with a fake signature. That's a bikila. I wasn't what I look like now. But gents, let's bring it. Let's bring
I miss
it
you with your dreadlocks, X-Men.
They're not coming back, my guys. This is Ambil. Permanently. The show would have been rather special. It would have looked like Cool Runnings, actually, if I still had my hair. Hey guys, if you like what you see and you want to support the show, we want you to be part of That Rugby Union Show family. Then just hit the like button, subscribe to the show, tell your friends, make sure you join us every time we're on. Slap that bell harder than Rassie Erasmus loopholes in World Rugby's rulebook. There are new episodes every week. Don't miss it.
Yeah, it's been 4 years of URC. The first 2 years, you guys made, the final. And, the last 2 years, you made the quarterfinals and couldn't get over the line. It could be because you played against the same team. It could be a whole host of reasons. But in terms of your guys' analysis, what's the sort of magical ingredient, if there is one, that was there in the first 2 years that you've almost mislaid for the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. I think your point about the criticisms, I just found myself getting some, I think we've had a chat or two this year, of much more prickly, and it's not a route I really want to go down, because not what we meant. It's funny, I've got to be disciplined now to think about, okay, what's a fair, you're entitled to have your opinions, and that's fair. I think I'm entitled to get defensive around anybody and it doesn't apply to this, tries to pull our project down or is factually incorrect. But opinion we shouldn't get prickly about, and I found myself heading that way, which is not good. I suppose when you're winning everything, it's easy to just So, but that is a very, very good question, and I don't want to. I'm responsible, so anything I say now is my responsibility. But I felt like if I was to say anything, we got to number one in pretty much in attack this season, which is progress for us. We got the fastest breakdown ball. We had the most offloads. I just felt, and please, this is not me trying to blame. I think it's because attacks have evolved. We just lack the defensive menace that we used to do for the last couple. So, those big reads, the big turnover, the visible taking away of line speed. That 8-phase set where we've driven them back 20 yards. I found. So maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, teams were doing a big bridge pass and taking the space up the outside. But it's on the outside. We can regather. We can get off the line again, and we can go again. Then Munster came with this thing of when they did the bridge, they cut in towards the sort of 20 yards in, and that became a little bit trickier because you got to watch the line. Now, with all these short passes, the way Connacht opened us up, I just think, we've got, the truth is, it's on the stats, we've gone down to 7th in defence. Now, I think we all not grown up because we're old already, but for the last 10 years, Storm has been a 1 or 2 defensive team. And whether that's us not putting enough accent, or I do think attack's getting more sophisticated. A lot of those I don't think it's the case with the South African teams, but some of those Northern Hemisphere teams are really, really good in attack. And I think our maul has fallen apart. I think it's across rugby, luckily. So, Glasgow last year scored 25 mauls, best mauling team. We scored 35 2 years ago, and we scored 4 this year. Glasgow only scored 8, so it's a rugby-wide thing. But we were particularly bad, and perhaps particularly stupid in that we kept doing it. You saw in that quarterfinal Glasgow do a special play in their first maul, and they score when Ali was sleeping, and they just came around the front of a maul. Now, Glasgow would never 5 yards out in the first minutes do a special play, but they realised that, and we didn't. We got an early one, and we kicked to the corner, and we got stuffed up in the maul. So probably those would be the 2 areas that most concern me about us. I just think we lacked our defensive menace that we used to.
Let's bring it forward to what we're seeing now with the Boks. And you spoke about Magazole and the fact that he still got it at this age. There's so much competition for places. Akona, I remember you in that Bulls squad. It was you on the one wing, it was Habana on the other. I remember there was Anton Leonards, there was Danny Rousseau's, Vic Matfield, Fourie Dupria, superstar team. And then you look at what the wings look like now, where the criticism then was that, these guys are not big enough. And we've sort of gone back to the Cleo Aplon days all over again. But they seem to be suiting the system that Rassie's playing so well.
They do. And I think the beauty about it is, we've seen how much the game has evolved, how much the game has moved from back in our days. And from that sort of, no, you're not big enough. as long as now you have the heart. I think those guys, Cheslin Kolbe and Ketley Arons, have shown that you just need to have a big heart, and the game is for everyone, like they always say. And looking at the team that Rassie has, or the squad actually, he's in a very fortunate place, and we have to give credit to him because he's given everyone a chance. He's given guys chances where no one thought deserved chances, but he still backed them. And the guys put up their hands, and it's tough to be in that squad and to find the starting lineup for the Springboks currently, which is what you want. You want that competition to be at a very high level, and you want to maintain that, the jersey, to still have that fight for the players must fight for the jersey. And it's unfortunate that Rex didn't make the squad, but I think, in all honesty, if you think about it, the three guys that are there now currently, I think they just maybe just take it just by an inch from him, I believe.
It's a very tough call. Your take, Udi?
It's a tough call and a brave call. So I do agree with a lot of what he said, and I think it's good also that I would say Cheslin convinced people that he can actually suit any style that you put him in. Because if you think about it, when Rassie started, he wasn't as expansive as he is now. And it was more of the old South African way of playing for the Springboks. But Cheslin showed that he could still be special. And if you think about it, he was not even first choice when Rassie came around. He was a squad player, and we had two lethal, exciting wingers. And through to the fact that, when you get your chance, you take it with both hands. And then Cheslin grabbed his chance against the All Blacks. And, opened up, well, obviously you mentioned here Uplon, but I'm just talking about the mindset of coaches, supporters, just the rugby fraternity. People now changed that mindset when Cheslin came. And you can even remember when opposition would talk and media would talk about how they need to be tested in the air. And both those guys are very comfortable in the air. In fact, they win balls against taller guys than them. And Akona said it right. It's all about the desire. It's all about the want. And both of them have shown that they've got massive hunger for that jersey. And, I think yes, they are special, but you can't take away, when I look at someone that scores tries for fun like Makazole does, I think, you gotta have something special to do that. Your understanding of the game, your reading of the game, and just being in the right place at the right time. Those things are not, you can't really teach that. It's something that it's your God-given talent, and then you can, once you have it, you can just work on it. And, I don't think he's missing out per se, but just giving other guys a chance as well. And I have no doubt when they announce the squad again for New Zealand and Argentina, Makazole will be right back in. But we are spoiled for choice. We are definitely spoiled for choice. And I'm excited that he's brought in those three youngsters. It just shows you. I'm sure New Zealanders and the English are just looking at us and thinking, how on earth are they going to be stopping us when our under-20s are that dominant? That means we might be dominant for the next couple of years, which is nice for us, but not for them.
Yeah, there was even that Ndogozo Makaza, the young man from UCT who was pulled in, did very well for the Cheetahs as they beat Georgia. But Sim?
Guys, if I could ask both of you, one of the great, forget your trophies, but one of the great distinctions of your careers is the fact that you guys could play 100 caps each for your, for your unions, which during the time you were playing is no mean feat. So you guys kind of played rugby almost in the dark ages, where like just by being a black player, and there was always a mark on you, always doubt, only as good as your next game. When you guys look at the Springboks now, having gone through your experiences, and not necessarily the Springbok experience, but in particular, when you guys look at the Springboks now, where do you guys see the advancement in terms of how they handle their squad, from the time you guys were playing?
For me, Simi, very interesting question, and I think it's a very good question. What's different that I see from back in our days and to this team now? What Rassie has sort of changed is the mindset of the players. I think he is sort of made the jersey to be number one, and it's not about the player. I think it looks like now every player understands what role they need to perform in the team, and you need to perform that role to the best that you can. If you can't, you can go out, and then he's going to put someone else. And I think and the players are okay with that. They understand what's expected of them. And you look at what he did in France in the World Cup, where he took out, I think, 3 or 4 senior players when the Springboks were behind, and he put in the bench. Not where you wouldn't see that anywhere else previously, or I don't think most coaches would beg members of their squad in the bench and take out some of their seniors when the team is down. And then those guys came in and did the job, and they won the game for him. So I think that's what he's sort of changed with the team, and the guys look comfortable in the squad. They fight for the jersey, but they still fight within certain boundaries, if I can put it like that. You look at how JC Kriel and Lukhanyo Am are fighting for the same jersey, but they seem to help each other in terms of defense and attack. Same can be said for Vili and Fassi. Yes, I know that Vili is sort of the old dog in the squad now, but I think sort of that mindset that I think now it's all about the jersey, and we're all here to serve a purpose, and that purpose is to make sure that this team stays number one and keeps on winning the games. And I think that's what makes it makes the team do so well, because everyone understands where they stand and what's the plan with them going forward. And I think once players are comfortable with what the coach wants from them, and they know what's expected, and they have a clear plan, players seem to perform for him, and the players seem to be loyal to him as well. So I think he's done a very good job with the team, and may it continue for the next couple of years.
And I think what I think we must tip our heads for Dr. Rassie Erasmus, just because he understands what South Africans want, in the sense of, you'll hear the big talk will be how diverse we are as a nation, and how we all come from different backgrounds. And you look at that team is well represented right across. And what that does as well, it's so inspiring for youngsters. I mean, for the longest time many fans you come across when you go home to Mthatha and you go everywhere, people talk about why is the team's not transformed enough. And, Rassie has been the guy that says, we are all different, and through diversity, there's power and there's strength. And what he has done, which Akona mentioned now, is his message to the team is so clear. I mean, Sim, I've been playing. We've been playing rugby for a long time, and we've come across coaches that have separate meetings with different players and have other meetings with other players. I mean, it's a known fact. But what you get from this group of players, they're all
sound like they're singing from the same book, because it's quite clear that, he doesn't shy away from hard topics. He doesn't shy away from talking about a team that's transformed, and you are there because you're not there because you are black. You are there because you are a Springbok and you have to perform, and we back you 100%. I mean, a player like Mane, for example, I think, I might be out of line, I think most coaches would have thrown him to the wolves. But he stood behind him and he saw this young, black, talented player that needs the support and the guidance from his team, and they stood behind him. And look at what Mane is now. And Mane will still play many caps for the Springboks, and he's so crucial to that game plan that they have. So for me, I think that's one thing that Rassie has done. And maybe perhaps we don't speak enough about it, but we should speak more about it. And when you sit at home now and you watch in Italy, you look at the under-20s right now, and you look at that team, and you're like, wow, look at this team. So it's something that is obviously contagious, and a lot of people are also doing it. And like Akona finished off in his statement that long may it continue, so long may it continue in rugby in South Africa, because we've got the talent, we've got the pool of talent, and it's all about just giving everyone an opportunity.
Yeah, and the positions that those under-20s are being selected in, I think, is also worth noting. You start seeing a couple of forwards, when your fly half is, the main guy in the back line, and you saw just how effective he was. And I like that, because it's not just about numbers, it's about people fulfilling those roles. Guys, I can't believe it. We're running out of time. Before we cut, I just want to see.
We can't
Yeah,
be.
we are.
I was getting warm, X-Men. I was getting warm.
No. We're going to have to do it again.
Well, some people took 15 minutes to get into the call, if you know what I mean. I'm not
We know who's the one
right?
without pace. We know who's the one without pace.
Can I tell you a story about Sim trying to how life humbled him when we played the Crusaders in 2007,
Yeah.
and he started writing an article. You wanna finish that story, Sim?
No, because all I remember is the story that came out in the Sunday Times was a great story about you. Okay, but like a certain wait, a certain thing I know, a certain shots wing I know, knocked on. Oh, had a line.
Oh,
and the headlines were there. You had your headline story perfect.
And they losing the game in the last minute, and then he outpaces. Was it Scott Hamilton?
Yeah.
Not exactly the quickest guy in the world, but hey. He outpaces him to the corner, but he gets in there, and we get like 5 minutes of TMO, right? Yeah. It was Sean Feltzman. And in boxing, they talk about hometowns.
You're a typical storyteller, eh?
And then I run into him on the outfield, and we have a whole chat about, this try, and I'm saying, geez, dude, it came very close to a not so nice story, about you. And he's then girlfriend, who is now his missus, takes up the issue with me. And do I not get told, like, put in my place about how us media are always destroying players?
Yes. She saw the opportunity, and knowing my wife, she would tell it like it is. And I think she bumped into you, and then she's been holding it inside for the longest time, and then she had to bother and take it all out. And you were just the guy to take the fall for everyone.
Wrong place, wrong time, my guy. Wrong place, wrong time. Let's see,
Yeah,
Paul.
exactly.
Before we go, let's see if Paul can just stick up that Springbok squad for us, because hopefully these guys are going to make magic happen. Yeah, we're going to overrun because this conversation is too good, and it just means that I'm going to try and have to coordinate you guys again so we can pick up where we left off, because I feel like there's so many stories that we're not even getting through. But just a very quick look at this squad. There's a couple of names that obviously are missing. The one that surprises me, just looking at the forwards first before we go to the backs, is the inclusion of Jean-Luc Duprier. He had left the squad. I think for the birth of a child. So he didn't get a run against Italy, against Georgia. But obviously, Rassie sees something there. And I'm starting to wonder more and more, because it seems to be a pattern. We're talking about that 8 position. And I just wonder what Rassie must be thinking.
Look, personally, I do think we have an 8 problem at the moment. Obviously, you've got someone like Cameron Hanekom, who's obviously the flavor of the year, of the last year, missing due to injury. And then you've also got someone like Elrich Low, who can play 8 and 7, also missing through injury. And then you got Jasper Appidy's ban. So now suddenly there is no specialist 8, although being a specialist in Rassie's, in Rassie's team is not exactly the thing to be. So Jean-Luc did play against the Barbarians, and I thought he played quite well. What I like about Jean-Luc is Jean-Luc has got sort of similar power to Jasper Wiese, but he can do a bit more. He likes an offload. He's an option in the lineouts, whereas Jasper probably isn't. And so I think a guy like Jean-Luc is coming back to kind of like sort of plug the gap while Jasper's away. Or obviously also plug the gap while I think someone like Kobus Wiese is sort of being tried out as a potential 8 as well. I still think Rassie's taking that thing of like a like-for-like replacement a bit too far with the Wiese brothers. It's a bit like these two guys we have here. There's this binge one for the other. But yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do. Obviously, there's still the 2 options of Sia and Kwagga at 8, but you probably do need a guy who identifies as an 8 first, and then maybe the other roles. I'm quite curious what Odwa and Akona think of our 8 situation, because for me, that's literally the only position where we probably don't have as much depth as we would like.
Yeah, and Sim, I think you've explained it quite nicely. So Cameron would have possibly, without the Aspa, been the preferred choice, just because he's quite comfortable at 8. And you also look at how, for example, against the Georgia game, they made a few changes where normally your 8 would be the one that's receiving the kickoffs. And now they actually got Damien Dialende receiving the kickoff. So they're having to accommodate Kobus, perhaps, I don't know, but that's what I noticed. But I also quite like Jean-Luc. I thought when he played for, I think it must have been 20, 30 minutes or 25, he looked hungry. He looked excited, and I do believe he is the better of the 2 brothers. Physical is very physical. He also, like you mentioned, plays the lock as well. He can fill in at blind side. He's also got the skill for an 8, because we can't take for granted those are 2 different roles. They have 2 different requirements. And I think that's where possibly Jean-Luc could be ahead of Kobus Wiese, is just with those small touches that he can bring. And so you can argue and say we have problems, but Sim, I think there's enough quality to step up and still do the job. Jasper Wiese worries me with his discipline. It's his 4th red card in couple of seasons, and you know, his discipline will have to be something that he really has to work on, because I mean, in a tough game, we can't afford to be down, and in an important game, we can't afford to be down. But I'm sure it will be something that they'll be working hard on. But I think Jean-Luc would be the preferred 8 for me personally. You've muted yourself, X.
Yeah, X is on mute.
X, you on mute, my guy.
Imagine.
Yo.
In 2025, yo, imagine. AK, just quickly looking at those backs, we've touched on the wings. The one position that I know is not necessarily up for grabs, especially after what Sim said right at the beginning, with Faf dropping out, we've been debating is, I think, at number 9, who is the guy at the moment. And I think Grant Williams probably edges everybody else. And then also Ethan Hooker, he's probably the one young guy and new face that stuck around, but he's had a very good season.
Yeah, looking at the backs, Grant Williams, I think, stood up in the test that he played, and he reminded everyone why he should be number 1. And I think by far now, Rassie also sees him as number 1. And for me, I hope that Ethan Hooker can get a start at center. He came off the bench against Italy and showed a little bit of what he can do. We've seen what Keenan Moody did when he got a start against Italy and Georgia, did put up his hand. So I hope Ethan can get a start against Australia and just show us a different dimension of the game as well, and show us that he belongs at this level, and he's also young. So I think if you look through the backs, it's guys that World Cup stars, and Farsi is also coming to his own as well. Also wanted to dominate the 15 jersey. I liked how Andre played with Mani. It reminded us of the Andre from Harlequins. So it was good to see him getting back to his form as well. So I think also Monet van der Berg, I like the player. I think he's gonna play a lot more games as well. So I think with him and Grant Williams as our scrum halves, it's very exciting for this team.
And then
X-Men and Sim, I know Dala Sim Ngoma doctor, and we have to. But just Carlos Sam is how he's left out Ambrose Papi. I mean, what does the boy have to do? He's been so consistent. He's been driving that Bulls team. And, I'm aware that we've got quality in the squad. But I think the performance yake deserved a call-up. Even, if the guy is not even going to be used. Because I think it's also motivation for him, because you're playing so hard and you want desperately to be in that green and gold. And when you get overlooked, especially when you put up match winning performances like he has been, it's a bit unfortunate. But it's still an exciting squad, an exciting backline as well. And like me, the 4 of us, we could sit here, we could come up with 4 different backlines. And that's how good of a position we are in. And that's what Rassie has done to create that depth. And like now, this year is given 7 players debuts to 7 players. So that squad just keeps growing. My question is just, I wonder up until when will he still carry the guys that have done the job, Up until when do we start having those conversations with a few players, That for me, I think it would be the interesting one.
Well, I mean, we were going to wrap it up there, but you said something now that I have to get AK on, and that's the announcement of Johan Ackermann at the Bulls as head coach, because that changes things. I think in terms of the approach, the style is going to be different to Jake. Maybe that's an opportunity for a guy like Ambrose. You know, if the Bulls just go, it always felt in the last 2 seasons, the Bulls just need another one step, another gear. They're so close, and maybe Akers is the guy who gets somebody like you say, Odwa, and Ambrose noticed or brought closer to that green and gold. AK, your take on that coach appointment?
It's exciting times in Pretoria. And
Yes, look at Sim. Look at how happy Sim is. He's smiling like from ear to ear. Yes.
and purely because of what Aki's planned.
I just wanted to watch AK bury his old coach, Jake White.
I'm waiting. Come on.
The guy took it to the World Cup. Now, is that what you're gonna do right now? Is that you right now?
No, X said it. You know, the Bulls have been to 3 finals, and unfortunately, having won, didn't get over the line, and you just feel like now the team needs a different voice, different approach, and I think that's what Arcas bring. And you know, I think we'll see a lot of players that might have been forgotten. I also mentioned Ambrose Papier. I think for me, Stedman Khans, hopefully he gets a chance to play at the URC because he did put up his hand and he showed what he can do with ball in hand, solid on attack. Stravino Jacobs as well. So there's a couple of players I think will get a crack with Akers, and hopefully he's able to manage the squad now. We're getting a lot of former Boks players. Marvin Ori is coming back. Yes, Jan Serfontein is also coming back. So there's a mixture of youth and experience, and guys that have played overseas. Henry Pollard also coming back. So it's exciting times to be a Bull supporter, and hopefully Akis can bring that magic he took from under 20s to Loftus and get us over the line for the UFC title.
You can pick
guys. Guys, for me, I think the Ambrose Papier situation is probably another Evan Royce situation. If you look at another dynamic of fans in the country, so there's a whole host of people saying, what does he need to do to be able to? And he's a specialist 8, or he's supposed to be a specialist 8. So I think that's kind of like, for every Ambrose, there's an Evan Royce, and for, you could take it. Remember, in the old days, when the Boks were starting up with Rassie, remember the old question then was Marcel and Sia. Marcel Couture and Sia. Somebody out there, every time I go to a pub, they still a debate that Marcel, why does he never get a chance? So there's a lot of that kind of, I think, sometimes there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. But what I want to ask the two of you before I finally shut up and not say anything, I know both of you are keen golfers. I actually want to know which of the two of you is better. As in, just give me the handicap. Don't start talking.
World War III.
And then the second part.
There's no World War III.
Hang on. And then the second part is one of you in punditry does it in English, and the other one is Xhosa punditry. Is that because one of you used your England school fees better at Hudson Park, or is the other one more authentic with his Xhosa from Transkei? I just want to know.
X-Men, you forgot to share with us that there's a stand-up comedy 5-minute slot for Sim at the end of the show. What's happening? What's happening with Sim?
Yeah, you're in here now. I think you're gonna start another war. But the golf question, I'm also very interested. Very.
Sim, do you play golf?
No, not a chance, man.
You have no idea what's happening with golf.
No, I understand how it works, but I've never played it, and I have no interest.
Go play golf and then come back. Let's chat about golf.
Eggs. I actually think it's very fitting that these two play golf because You ever looked at their legs? Their legs are like golf clubs. You know?
Oh my goodness. What's going on with Sim?
Yeah.
You
No,
did
but that
ask
title,
what's in
let's
that
be
coffee
honest.
pot.
No, that title belongs to Victor Matfield, let's be honest. Guys, thank you
And
very
Percy.
much for
No,
Have you seen
actually-
Percy's legs as well?
Monty. And
No,
Monty.
actually, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Victor wins hands down.
Guys, we've spoken for longer than I anticipated. I'm very grateful for you. Really, really. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope we get to do it again. If I can coordinate you on the same day, I hope we can. It's been absolutely fun. What a privilege. What a pleasure catching up as always, gents. Thanks again.
Thank you, X.
Thank you, X-Men. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the comedy hour at the end, but yeah, that would be nice if you can set it up again. Be good
So
fun.
we know when
Yeah.
we're going to pick up. Sim, thanks very much. We'll chat again next week. We've got a week with no Springbok rugby in between. So hopefully we'll get a coach on for next week and just break down some of the things that have been happening. Haven't even had a chance to touch on the junior Springboks, but well done to the youngsters. I think Kevin Foote has been done very, very well with obviously the help of the other coaches that were there. But it's good to see that young talent come through. Thank you again, gents, and thank you at home for joining us. See you again next week. Cheers. Hey guys, if you like what you see and you want to support the show, we want you to be part of That Rugby Union Show family. Then just hit the like button, subscribe to the show, tell your friends, make sure you join us every time we're on. Slap that bell harder than Rassie Erasmus loopholes in World Rugby's rulebook. There are new episodes every week. Don't miss it. Welcome back to That Rugby Union Show. What a week it's been.
Playing like a man possessed.
And so much to talk about. It's not this Rugby Union Show. It's That Rugby Union Show.